All right, it's talking about 11.4. And this one's talking about population density. There's not a whole lot in this section. It's pretty short. They actually, the old book, it used to be part of another lesson, and they kind of took it out and made its own thing. There's not a lot to it. We're really only dealing with population density here. There's another type of question in there that we're not going to worry ourselves with at this point. So we're just looking at this. So population density, you see the definition there. We are talking about the population density of a city, county, or state is a measure of how many people live within a given area. Okay? How many people in a specific area. And you see an equation here, population density is just the number of people divided by the area of land. So typically, when we talk about land area, we're talking about square miles, but it could also be city block, it could be acres, it could be, you know, any number of different things as long as it's an area. Okay, so it's going to be an area down there. So when we think about our label for this, let's think about our label first. Number of people, your label is always going to be people, because that's what it is, right? So you're going to be looking at a number of people per, okay, that division sign, that's per, and then your area of land. So again, in square miles, that's people per square mile. Okay, it could be people per acre, people per city block, right? But that's our label. So if we give answers for population density, we're going to have that label. Okay, so let's take a look at the type of questions that we are going to see. We're going to be solving for different types of things here. This one's talking about the state of Nevada. Okay, it says it has a population of about 3.1 million people. We're looking for population density. Well, remember, our population density is people over area. So we're going people is 3.1 million. So we're looking at 3.1 million top. And then on bottom, we're looking for that area. It says in square miles. So we're going to have to find the area of Nevada. And so we see over here kind of that picture of Nevada. Now, we are going to have to do a little bit of estimating because, as we know, as we can tell, most states or whatever we're talking about here, and a lot of times it's state or county or something like that, not always a perfect shape that we can find the area of. Nevada's pretty close, right? And if you think to yourself, well, what type of shape would this be? Well, if we fill it in here, right, we can think of this as kind of a trapezoid. Okay, kind of a trapezoid here. You've got sort of parallel sides here, not technically, but kind of parallel sides. And really, we're just estimating, right? We're not finding exact numbers. We're estimating how many people per square mile in the state of Nevada. So we're looking at a trapezoid here. And remember, the area of a trapezoid, average of the bases times the height. So the average of the parallel sides times the height. Average of your parallel sides, that's 690 if you add them up. Divide that by 2. We're looking at 345 times the height, which is 320. So we can multiply those together and get that area. Once we find that area, then that area ends up being about 110,400. Okay, so that's about the area there. Now we find the population density. So we take that 3.1 million, we divide it by that, and we're going to find that population density. Now you got to be careful because you can't just have 3.1 million, right? You can't type 3.1 into a calculator. You're going to have to know that that 3.1 million represents this, and then we can simplify it. We can divide it. We're either typing that entire thing right in the calculator, right, or we can simplify it a little bit first. Saves us some typing into our calculator. If you have the same number of zeros at the end, you can cancel those out. Okay, it's like dividing top and bottom by 100. So really, what I'm going to type into the calculator, I'm going to type in 31000 divided by 1104, and I'm going to get 28.0797, blah, blah, blah. But it does say in people per square mile, and really we're estimating, okay? So we are approximating, we already approximated the shape, right? So we know this is not gonna be an exact answer. So we are kind of finding an average. So either 28.1, we could just call it 28. And again, give it that label, people per square mile, and we're good. Okay, so we've got population density is people over area. Is what we're looking at. So they tell us the answer is about 28 people per square mile, like we said. Moving on, next sort of thing here. Still using that equation, but now we're solving for something else. Okay, so this brings our area of a circle into it. We're still using that equation of population density equals people over area. And so now it says that we have a population density of 5475. So that's going to be people over area. Well, people, there's 430,000 people. And then it's area. And it says it's a circular region. Okay, it's a circular region, and we're looking for the radius. So I'm going to call that the area of that circular region pi r squared, because we know that's the formula for area of a circle. So now we have this. Okay, we're trying to solve for. Remember, we said anything that you're trying to solve that's in the denominator, we can take that and we can switch it with the other side. That's going to work. And really, we don't need to take the pi with us either, right? So what we can do is just switch that r squared with the 5475, and that's going to work. So if I now have r squared is equal to 430,000 over 5475, that pi is still down there. So I can use that. Okay, just be careful when you type this into your calculator. Throw some parentheses around that, because we want to multiply 5475 times pi before we divide it. If you don't put parentheses around it, it's going to divide 430,000 divided by 5475, get an answer, and then times it by pi. We don't want that, right? We want to multiply these together. So throw some parentheses around it as you divide, and as we do that, let's see, we got 430,000 divided by parentheses 5475 pi, and we're going to get the radius squared 24.9996. Well, that's pretty darn close to 25, right? So basically, we're saying the radius squared is 25. Remember, we don't want radius squared, though we want radius, so we are looking at 5 miles for our radius. Okay, you got to have that label on there as well. You're going to have to trust me that that says miles. All right. So we can use that to find other things, right? We can use that same equation to find the radius of the area, to find the area in general, to find the number of people, to find the population density, right? We can solve for any one of those as long as we have enough information. And they're going to give you enough information to solve for what they're asking for. Okay, so really that's what we're looking at, population density in that equation. Right, so if we just look at the other, the two practice problems down here, I just want to make sure that we know exactly what we would do in these situations. If we were in class, then I would have to talk to somebody about them, of course, like we always do. We can make it a little more focused. Not really, that's even worse. Closer to it. Let's see, focus that up there. All right. So the first one, about 58,000 people live in a circular region with a 2-mile radius. Find the population density. So here we're looking for population density, right? So your density, I use D for density. We're looking at 58,000 over a 2-mile radius for a circle. So pi times your radius squared. So you're looking 58,000 over 4 pi. Again, if you're going to type that in the calculator, throw that in parentheses as you divide it, we get our answer. For 2, circular region, again, circular region. We've been dealing with circles, circular region. Has a population of about 175,000 people, so 175,000, and a population density of about 1318. And so we are trying to find the radius. This is like what we just did. Throw your pi r squared down there, switch your r squared with the 1318, throw it in parentheses, solve it out, take the square root of it, and we're going to get our answer. Okay, so really that's the type of stuff that we're looking at. A lot of circles. Doesn't have to be a circle though, right? It could be a square, it could be a rectangle, it could be a kite, it could be anything. It's just circle is a nice, easy way that we sometimes use to do our calculation. Okay, so really that's what we're looking at. Hopefully you can remember that formula. That's not on the worksheet. You got to know that formula and be able to apply it. There you go. That's it.